Hello, I'm Jason Hartley with the Attic Lift, and today we're going to start showing you how to install our Post-Style Attic Lift. We're going to start out with some basics, and the first thing you're going to do when you're going to install a lift is you're going to check your hole. And to do that, you're going to have some paperwork. It may be an invoice, it may be it may be on your computer, but it will have the size of your platform. The size of your platform is going to be the size of your hole. So you have a hole, need to measure it and make sure it matches what you've ordered, and make sure that the floor around underneath and the floor above is clean to make sure that you're going to have a good outcome. Next, you're going to have the basic tools that are needed to install the Post-Style lift. These are the things you're going to need for a Post-Style installation. You're going to need a 1/2-inch drill, a circular saw, a medium-duty impact, a 1/4 impact driver, a impact adapter, a 7/16 socket, 3/4 socket, 16mm socket, 5/16 drill bit, 1/2-inch long drill bit, adjustable wrench, torpedo level, tape measure, a hammer, a steel cable cutter, and a C-clamp. And that's all that's required to install the Post-Style Attic Lift. All right, your next step on the Post-Style installation is going to be to check your lift and organize what you have. In your pallet, you should have the following items. You should have a white 3/4 inch shim, 2 1.5-inch shims, 2 longer 2x6s, a pillow block bearing, safety chain, 2 block and pulleys, a bolt pack, your cable, your motor connected to the frame. This happens to be a wireless, but it can be either a wireless or corded, and a drive drum. And if you have ordered a lift with a ramp, you need to make sure the ramp is facing the side that you want to use the ramp. And that's everything you have that needs to be on the Post-Style lift. As part of the organization, go through what's in the Post-Style bolt pack very quickly. This is your electrical tape, Allen head, 5/16 nut driver, 3/16 cable clips, your 3-inch nails, your 8-inch Tex screws, your screw eyes, your chain clips, your 1/2-inch nuts, 1/2-inch washers, 1/2-inch lock washers, 1/2-inch carriage bolts, and 5-inch Tex screws. The next step is you want to put everything where it belongs. Nearly everything with the Post-Style lift, except for the platform and ramp, go upstairs. So move everything upstairs and locate your power so that you can move on with the process. And that's pretty much everything with this step for the Post-Style. This is our rough assembly step 2 process of the Post-Style. We like to start with a little safety. Do realize you have an open hole in the floor. We like to start by putting our safety chain around the hole. And while we're doing that, keep in mind to keep all your accessories, tools, and everything away from the hole so that you don't accidentally back into the hole. Let's move on to marking our poles. What we do to put our safety chain in is we like to mark the corners of our post as close to 38 inches as possible. That gives us a droop of about 36, which is a standard height for a handrail. So sometimes this may not be possible due to the angles of the roof, but you can adjust as is necessary. So this is how we install the screws. In the corner, you've got for the corner, take your screw, put it in. I use my drill bit. I like to leave the compression area of the ring facing down and then leave the screw eye horizontal. We'll take the chain and it'll go through the hook eye. Once you've installed all 4 of your screw eyes, you just complete the process for all 4 corners. Once you install your chain, make sure you use the clip to put the opening on the side that the customer is going to use most. Next step is going to be our cross braces. What we need to do is figure out where our cross brace is going to be attached. In this case, we're going to be doing straight across, but this system is very adaptable. It can follow a roof line. What we've done is marked our areas where the cross braces are going to be installed, and then I've installed a nail at each of the marks. And what this nail does is help us hold the board in place. And I've also pre-started the nails into our cross braces. And that allows us, with one person, to put the cross brace in place and install the temporary pin, and then complete the same process for all four corners, and you'll have your cross braces in. This is your next part of the process. We're going to install these shims. What we do is I preload the nails just like I did for the cross braces, and they're going to go across from where you're going to put your motor. You're going to line them up with the outside of the post and the outside of your cross brace and nail them on. You're going to repeat the process for the other side. At this part, we need to get ready to hang the pillow block bearing. We need to get organized for that. You get your pillow block bearing, you get your shim, you need 2 of your 1/2-inch carriage bolts with your nuts, lock washers, and washers, and the rest of your nails. And we like to put them at the base so they'll be ready for the next step. All right, next part of the process is actually hanging the motor. You're going to need your motor assembly and your C-clamp to hold it temporarily on the post. You're going to put the motor on the post, making sure that your drive is below the cross brace. Then you're going to take your clamp and you're going to attach it to the post temporarily so that we can install the bolts. Next part of the process is going to be install the carriage bolts to hold the motor in place. What you're going to do is drill through the frame, through the post, and then install the 1/2-inch carriage bolts. Take your impact wrench, tighten the nut, and then you're going to repeat it for the other 2 holes. This part of the process, we're going to swap over to the drill bit. What you're going to do is do a little bit of pre-drilling. You need to pre-drill through your 2x6 material to put in your tech screw on both sides. You'll start your first hole about 1.5 inches in and about 1.5 inches down. And drill your first one. You'll move to the other side. You'll pre-drill for 2 screws. Just need to go through the 2x6. You're going to take your nut driver and you're going to swap to the provided 5/16 nut driver. You're going to use your hanger bracket and one of your long 8-inch screws. You'll put it into the hanger bracket. You pull up your shim. You want to have a slight angle on the bracket, aiming towards the other side. Now we're going to install the drive drum. This is a pretty involved step in the process. The first thing you're going to do is measure from the shaft of the motor to the floor and transpose it to the opposite post. And then you're going to put your shim on and hang it to the post. Now you're going to take your drive drum and you're going to put it on your shaft. You're going to use your carrier bearing facing the set screws to the outside. You're going to put your torpedo level on the drive drum. and get a rough idea of where level is going to be. Then you're going to use your clamp. You'll level drive drum, tighten your clamp. This will hold the whole assembly temporarily. Use your drill and your 1/2 inch. You're going to drill holes to hold the bearings. So use your 1/2 inch carriage bolts, same as we've done on the other processes. Put it through. You may need to set it. Lock washer and your nut. You need to put it on. You need to double check your level of your drive drum. Install your carriage bolt. Remove your torpedo level. Remove your clamp. And you repeat the process for the bottom bolt. After you've put the bottom bolt in, you're going to set the drive drum into the motor as best as possible. And then you're going to use your provided Allen wrench to lock the drive drum in place. This is an important step because it prevents the drive drum from moving. The next part of the installation is installing the cables. You're going to measure from the inside of the 4x4 towards the inside of the lift to 5 inches. You're going to do that on both sides. Then you're going to swap back to your 5/16 drill and you're going to drill completely through the drive drum on both ends. Again, this is 5 inches from the inside of the post. At this point, we're going to want to install our cables, so you're going to need to plug in your lift. Now you have your holes drilled in your drum. You're going to unwind your cables, and you're going to take your first cable, and you're going to put it through, and bring it across to your pulley, and then you're going to pull the cable through until it's approximately even on the floor below. After you've run the first cable, the second cable will be the same, except make sure you go through the safety switch before you go through the drive drum and across to the other side. The next step is winding your cables. This is a very important step. You're going to want to put 3 pre-wraps on the drive drum. It's going to look fairly messy as you get started, but you're going to need to work that out. The cable that is on the drive drum side, they need to travel towards the inside of the lift. So arrange your cables. As you get them tightened up, use the electrical tape that is provided to temporarily lock them in place. Take your time, it'll work out. And you repeat it on the other side. Once again, take your time. This is an important step. The tape helps it stay in place so that you can properly adjust the platform. Once that's done, you're ready to install your platform. Now we're going to start attaching the platform and doing the start of the leveling. First thing you're going to do is take your cable clips and install them onto the cable with the nut screwed out so that they're at the most loose point. You're going to take your spring, you're going to line it up so it's all straight. And for your cable, you're going to come from the outside through the spring, through the cable clips, and using your 7/16, you're going to pull up with your foot on the platform and add a little pressure and snug the cable clips. There's no need to over tighten them at this point because this is the first of the leveling time. You're going to repeat it on all the corners, taking care to make sure that the spring is in line with the platform and all of it stays even. Next part of the process is going to be centering the platform and adjusting the brackets. First thing we're going to do is raise the platform off the ground a small amount. You're going to take a measurement between the framing and the cable on both sides. In this instance, it's 2 1/4 and 2 1/2. What you're going to do, use your hammer, adjust the bracket, 2 1/4, 2 1/4. We're going to put our drill, and we're going to pre-drill our hole, and then we're going to do the final attachment of the bracket with the other provided 8-inch lag bolt. Do a check and repeat the process on the other side. This is final adjustment. We've already adjusted our bracing and we have the preliminary tighten on our cable clamps. Now we need to run it to the ceiling and see how it sits. You're looking for the platform to intersect the ceiling fairly evenly. This one does. It's a flat floor installation. It's fairly simple, but this is correct, so we're going to lower it back down and tighten the cables. Since we only have a preliminary tightening on the cable, we go ahead and put the final tightening on. There's no need to over tighten the cable clamps. Taking your tape about 6 inches from your upper clamp, put 2 or 3 rounds of tape on the cable. Using your cable cutters, trim it off. These are a more expensive type of cable cutter. We do offer a smaller, less expensive that is available on the website that you can get with your package. Take your tape a couple times around, and then you're going to wrap the end. Just tightly as possible, making sure to cover the sharp end of the cable is what we're trying to accomplish. Make sure that there are no sharp edges that can get your customer, and repeat for the other 3 corners. For the last of the installation, we're going to adjust the automatic shut-off. You're going to, with the cables taut with approximately 1.5 inches of compression on the spring, you're going to set the final cable clip to the safety switch. You will raise this clip up until you hear it click, and then you'll tighten the clip. This sets the automatic shut-off at that. It will stop in this spot every time. And that completes our installation.